Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Good morning, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the 23rd Dhamma Q&A session. You know that we've been discussing about different nidanas, links of the dependent origination, Padisamuppada. So, as the title suggests, we are supposed to discuss, engage in a discussion about the 10th link, 10th nidana called bhava for today. So, this is an interesting link actually, because I mean, all are interesting links, but this is differently interesting to all of us because a lot of people, sort of misinterpret, probably interpret differently the meaning of this term. Some scholars and non-scholars translate the word bhava to be what is it called? Becoming. But some other scholars and non-scholars, they translate the Pali word bhava to be existence. So, if we carefully look at the Pali word bhava, especially with regard to Patisamuppada meaning, we can see that becoming, the translation for bhava, to be becoming, can give us some different thoughts. Because bhava is a countable noun, it looks to us that it is more appropriate to say that bhava simply means existence, because it is a part of this life. Because if we can remember the 3 periods of Parisamuppada, if you can divide the 12 links into 3 periods, avijja and sankhara fall into the past life. Now, because of avijja and sankhara, ignorance and karmic formations or volition formations, we were reborn in this life. So, avijja sankhara in that context fall into the previous life. And then Vijnana, consciousness, I would say rebirth consciousness, Namarupa, mind and matter, Salayatana, the 6 bases, Phassa, contact, Vedana, feeling, Upadana, clinging, which we did last Monday, and Bhava, they all fall into this life. And then the rest of the 2 links, Nidanas, Jati and Jara Marana. It's a hybrid one. Jati, Jara Marana, those 2 links, they fall into future life. So that means bhava is not a part of a future life. So bhava means the kind of the bhava that we are living now at the moment. We've been living so far. So there are 3 types of bhavas: kama bhava, rupa bhava, arupa bhava, sensual sphere, realm, or we call it kama loka, and rupa loka or rupa bhava, which means the material Brahma worlds. There are 16 such Brahma worlds. And then what we call 4, the arupa worlds, which means infinite. Pardon me, the best term is immaterial Brahma worlds. There are 4 immaterial Brahma worlds. So the kind of the existence, the bhava that we were reborn in this life is what we call by bhava. It's not the future life. Because of this existence that we were reborn with, then we cause another link to appear, that is jati. So jati means the sort of life we are having in that particular realm. Let's say if we were reborn in one of the heavens, then we have the Deva Jati, right? And then if we were born in the human world, we have the Manusya Jati. Some people call it Yoni as well. And if we were born in, hells, or other places, then we call it the particular jati. So, kama, rupa, arupa are what we were reborn with, especially what we were reborn into in this life, and this is what we call by bhava. Okay, so this is something which we need to understand at the beginning of bhava. So, bhava is caused by upadana. Once we cling to something, especially cling to the five aggregates, we call it panchupadana kanda, then that conditions bhava to arise, which means the sort of existence, kama existence or rupa existence or arupa existence, that which we have at the moment. Okay. So bhava is concrete individual existence in one or the other of the three realms. So this is what we've been talking so far. So let's first take a look at how the term bhava, the link called bhava, was explained by the Buddha. Let's pay attention to the usual sutta that we've been discussing, Parisampada Nidanas. It is Vibhanga Sutta, Samyutta Nikaya 12.2. Katamocha bhikkhave bhavo. Tayo me bhikkhave bhava, kama bhavo, rupa bhavo, arupa bhavo, ayam uchati bhikkhave bhavo. And what, monks, is existence? Tayo me bhikkhave bhava. There are these three kinds of existence. Kama bhavo, sense sphere existence. Rupa bhavo, form sphere existence, which is called by material existence, material Brahma existence, and arupa bhavo, formless sphere existence. Now, why it was given as form, which means when you look at the rupa bhavas, material Brahma worlds, they have their physical body more manifesting than the mind part. But when you take a look at of the formless sphere, their body is not that manifesting, because they are called by arupa bhava. So their bodies are not manifesting, right? So that is what we call by arupa bhava. So this is called the three existences. So now we all already reborn. Now you were reborn as a human. I don't know. I mean, how many devas and brahmas watching this talk? So if so, they are watching from their places, their existences. Okay. But I think this is not, adequately giving us some information about these three bhavas and the term called bhava. So we will look at another sutta to understand what is bhava. So I'm going to choose one of the suttas called Anguttara Nikaya 3.76. 3.76, there's a sutta which goes exactly by Bhava Sutta. Bhava Sutta. Bhava means existence. Sutta on existence. Okay, somebody asked a question from the Buddha. Bhavo bhavoti bhante uchati. Kittavatanuko bhavo. Kittavatanuko bhante bhavo hoti ti. Dear the Buddha, the word existence, to what extent is their existence? Now, it looks to me that the person, one of the monks asking this question to understand the parameters of the bhava, understand the context and how it is, spread it over on a certain area. So, want to know the content, want to know the parameters of the bhava. And the Buddha says, oh, this is monk Anand actually. Buddha is answering to him, Kama dhatu vepakkancha ananda kammang nabhavissa apinuko kama bhavo panyayita. Ananda, if there were no karma ripening in the sensuality property, which means a kama loka, would sensuality becoming be discerned? No hetam Bhante, no Buddha. Itiko ananda kammang kettan, vinyanam bijam, tanha sneho. avijja nivarananang sattanang tanha sanyojananang hinaya dhatuya. Another word for kama word. Hina dhatu. Hina dhatu is another term for the kama loka, sensual sphere. Hinaya dhatuya vinyanang patittikam. Evam ayating punabbavabi nibbati hoti. Evam ko ananda bhavo hoti. Now, the Buddha wants to explain each bhavas. There are three bhavas, So he's looking at the karma bhava. How does, uh, you know, how does someone, an individual, get reborn in the sensual sphere? Hina dhatu. Thus, karma is the field, consciousness the seed, and the craving the moisture. Very interesting, huh? So the Buddha says, karma is our field. Now, Monk Ananda wants to know how do we need to understand karma loka. So within the karma loka, what we can see, karma loka is like a field. So the field of karma is karma. Because of the karma we are traversing. Consciousness called Vijnanam Bijam. Consciousness, the seed. Because of the Vijnana. Now this Vijnana alludes to Patisandhi Vijnana, which is traversing from one life to the other life, being so much change. Tanha sneho. Sneho means moisture. Craving the moisture. Now, if you take a look at this simile, seed needs some moisture. So moisture is given by craving, tanha. So karma, let's take a paddy field, like a cultivable paddy field. That is what we call by karma area. Seeds that you grow in that paddy field is consciousness. So uh, you are making a lot of seeds there. So we call them as conscious, as a group of as a multiple term called consciousness. And just because you have seeds, things don't work. You need moisture. So that moisture is craving. People always make craving. People always crave for different things. Kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha. The consciousness of living beings hindered. Now, the sort of consciousness which you understand by a seed, that is always hindered by ignorance and fettered by craving. Okay, this is interesting. Avijja nivarananang sattanang tanha sangyojananang. So, what's the role of avijja and tanha? Avijja is the starting point of our samsaric life, which is not the first course though, because avijja and ignorance and asavas are mutually dependent. They are not independent. So, because of this avijja, ignorance, we are driven into the samsara. So we call it uh, as a hindrance. So we are hindered by ignorance. What's the role of craving towards our samsaric life? Fetters. So craving always fetters us. Fetter means uh, tightrope. Tightrope into something. So craving is tightrope into samsara. We are in the samsara because of avijja, and then what does craving do is to tightrope us to the samsara. Into the, now in this case, into lower property. Now lower property, hina dhatu means kama. Now I would need to tell you the other terms too. So kama loka is also given as hina dhatu, low worlds like sensual worlds, and the what you call rupa lokas were taken as majjhima dhatu, the middling worlds, and the arupa lokas are also introduced as panita dhatu, subtle worlds. Arupa worlds are very subtle because they don't have a body, right? I think you know that the Brahmas don't have gender orientation, right? So all Brahmas are males. Pretty interesting, huh? Have you ever heard that there are female Brahmas? We don't hear that. All the Brahmas, they are males. Out of respect to everyone here, I want to say what I learned from them. So all the Brahmas in the Rupavachara and Arupavachara world, they are male Brahmas. And according to the information that we read, their eye and ear are predominant rather than their other three senses. So, Chakku Sotas are very predominant for them. But for us, we have Gana, Jivha, Kaya. So, they are little solid, more solid, right? That is why the Brahmas can live a very good life without karmas, right? So, the beings who are living in these two worlds, Rupa worlds and Arupa worlds, they don't have Gana, Jivha, Kaya, but they have Chakku Sota. So that's pretty interesting because when you have Gana, Jivha, Kaya, you are into karmas. You need to smell a lot of things, you need to taste a lot of things, you need some contact. You are into karmas, you are into sensuality. That's the difference. Anyways, now the Buddha explains to monk Ananda that this is how beings are into, those beings who are in the karma world are continuously uh, brought into the karma worlds because they are always keeping their karmas, they have a consciousness, they have craving, and they have hindrances like ignorance, and they have so and so forth. All these things, so they are into karma bhavas. Now, this is what happened to all of us, right? We are in the karma world, manusaloka. And then, Rupa dhatu vepakkancha ananda kammanam nabha vissa apinuko rupa bhavu panyayetati no hetam bhante. If there were no karma ripening in the Rupa world, would form becoming be discerned? No Buddha. Same answer, right? And Arupa dhatu vepakkancha ananda kammang nabhavissa apinuko arupa bhavo panya etati no hetam bhante. If there were no karma ripening in the arupa worlds, would formless becoming means no. Okay, so now this clearly means that Buddha didn't specifically describe the term bhava, but he wanted to explain the word bhava in three contexts: kama bhava, rupa bhava, arupa bhava. The reason is the main reason is bhava is a complicated term because it is the continuous journey of somebody in the samsara. So one has to understand the term bhava in the context of continuous existence. Now, in the Parisamuppada context, bhava here means the existence that you already have. Okay, so that is why it has been taken as a present life related thing. So avidya sankara fall into past life. Vijnana namarupa salayatana passa vedana upadana bhava fall into present life. And jati and jara marana fall into future life. Okay, so then I would like to go through some of the some of the main you know background information about these three worlds to get a sense of what it is, what they are actually, so that you will understand. Okay, so now how many realms are there? I mean, in terms of someone's rebirth, there are 31 places where an individual, where a being is going to be reborn. A lot of people don't talk about the word called re-death, rebirth, re-death. So we were reborn, and we're going to be re-dead too, right? Rebirth, and then re-death. The process continuously happening. So we'll go to the bottom. I mean, the most terrible place. We call it hell. So there are now we're going to be talking about the karma world. So how many realms are there in the karma world? There are 4 apayas, 4 hells, and then there is this human world, then you can see the number is 5, and then there are 6 heavens. So which means the number of realms in the Kama world, Hina Dhatu, is, what's the number here? 4 apayas, and human world it's 5, and then 6 heavens, then it's going to be 11. So there are 11 realms under the Kama Dhatu or Hina Dhatu. So the bottom of the, I would say, the least comfortable place in the Kama Dhatu is hell, Niraya. Now we know that the sort of suffering in these places in suttas like Majjhima Nikaya 129, Bala Pandita Sutta, and Majjhima Nikaya 130 is Devaduta Sutta. We can see that how much suffering that they are having. So there are hot hells and there are cold hells. We see the cold hells predominantly in the Mahayana teachings. Sanjeevaya, Kalasutra, Sangata, Raurava, Maharaurava, Tapa, Patapa, Avici. So there are 8 hot hells, and then there are other cold hells as well. And then, but all they taken as one place like hell. The second realm is animal. So all the animals that we know, they are living in a hell, according to the teachings. So that's the second realm. And the third realm, I would say the hellish realm is hungry ghosts. We call it Petas. There are 4 types of Petas: Nijjamatanhika, Kuppipasa, Pansupisacha, and Paradatupachevi. And the fourth realm in the Apaya, I would say hells, is Asuras. We call them demons. I would say these Asuras are kind of deities, but some people call them like jealous deities. They are not like the standardized deities. So but they are also part of the hells because they were previously living in the Tavatinsa, but because they were drinking a lot of gandapanas, kind of a drink, the then sucker pushed them into to the bottom of the Mount Meru. This is what we know from the cosmological teachings in the Buddhism. So then they became a part of a hell. So there are 4 hells in this context. Main hells, which have both hot and cold hells, and then animal kingdom, hungry ghosts, and asuras. So there are 4 hells. The 5th one is human beings. So we don't say that human beings live in a certain particular place. We call them everywhere where you can see humans. It could be Mars, it could be Neptune, I don't know. But we know humans are living in the earth. So, but they are all taken as one realm. And all the deities, starting from Chatum Maharajika, devas of the 4 great kings, they are very famous. They have these Virupaka, Dataratta, Viruda, Vesavana. So these are the 4 main guardian deities in this particular world, Chatum Maharajika. And then Tavatinsa, wherein which we see that the head god called Sakka lives in, and the Yama. So these deities are living in the air because they are free from all difficulties according to teachings. And Tusita, the kind of the heaven which is so much praised by the teachings, historical teachings, where all the bodhisattvas are reborn just before they're going to be reborn as bodhisattvas, to be born as Buddhas. And then Nimmana Rati and Paranimita Vaswati, the 2 heavens which are governed by Vasavati Mara, the most powerful person in this whole Kama world. And because this is why the Buddha had to sort of encounter a lot of difficulties with Vasavati Mara. So he is the most powerful person, even more powerful than the deities. Okay, so now these 11 realms are related to Kama Dhatu, so Hina Dhatu. Now, when you talk about Kama Bhava or Hina Dhatu, Buddha alluded to these 11 places. And we'll move on to the Rupa Dhatu, which is called Majjhima Dhatu, Rupa Lokas. Starting with the Brahma worlds, I would say the what do you call the Rupavachara Brahmas, we know that the first Brahma world is called Brahma Parisanja. Now, I wanted to tell you that how can someone be reborn as a Brahma? It is just because that they practice samatha meditation, and depending on how many jhanas and the kind of jhanas that they are attaining, they have an easy birth in one of the Brahma worlds. Now, it is said that when you attain the first jhana, now there are four jhanas, Rupavachara jhanas, material jhanas that somebody can attain in this Kamavachara world. If you have one of those jhanas, that means depending on the jhana, you are able to be reborn in one of the Rupavachara Brahmas. For example, if you attain the first jhana, then you are able to be reborn in one of these the first three Brahmas, Brahma Parisajya, the Brahma's retinue, Brahma Purohita, Brahma's ministers, and Maha Brahma, great Brahma. So these are the three Rupavachara Brahmas which you can be reborn when you have attained the first jhana from the Samatha Bhavana, calm meditation. But if you attain a step forward, I would say step further, if you attain the second jhana, um, with samatha meditation, then you will be able to be reborn in one of the three, the next three Brahma, Rupavachara Brahma worlds: Parithaba, minor lustre, Appamanaba, infinite lustre, and Abhasara, radiant gods. Now, the Brahma world called Abhasara is very interesting because this Brahma world is often mentioned in one of the suttas, Aganya Sutta. When the human world is disappeared, is devolved, when it is time to evolve back, the humans who were here, they are reborn in the Abhasara world, and then they are coming back into the human world as Abhasara Brahmas, where they don't have gender. So when the Brahmas from Abhasara world, Brahma world are coming into the human world, they don't have a manifestation of gender. But when they continue to live in the human world, when they are eating coarse food, when they are seeing different things, and then the male and the female differences, I would say the gender difference, start to arise. And that is how they will become Kamavachara people. So that means Abhasara uh, Brahmas will transform into the normal humans, worldlings, right? That means it is interesting. So when you attain the second jhana, you can be reborn as one of the Brahmas in one of these Rupavachara Brahmas: Parithaba, minor lustre; Appamanaba, infinite lustre; and Abhasa, radiant Brahmas. But if you attain the third jhana, then you can be reborn in one of the three Rupavachara Brahmas called Paritta Subha, minor aura; Appamana Subha, full of infinite aura; and Subhakinha, full of steady aura. I mean, these are bit higher Rupavachara worlds than Abhasara, Appamanaba, Parittaba, Maha Brahma, Brahma Parisajya, because you have attained the third jhana. And there is a kind of a buffer zone between the third jhana and the fourth jhana. There's a buffer zone in everything, right? So, Vehapala and Asanya Satta, they were given a bit differently, because we know when somebody attains the fourth jhana, they have three choices. I mean, I'm not saying there are three choices. It is rather the sort of level that they are attaining through the fourth jhana. If somebody attains the fourth jhana in full swing, then they are able to be reborn as one of the Brahmas in the pure abodes. We call them Akanita, Sudasi, Sudassa, Atappa, Aviha. Now let me read you the precious terms for them. Akanita means peerless Brahmas, and Sudasi means clear-sighted Brahmas. Sudassa means beautiful Brahmas. Atappa means untroubled Brahmas. Aviha means Brahmas not falling away. Okay, now these five, They are the highest forms of Brahmas that one can be reborn when they attain fourth jhana. But what is Asanya Satta? Asanya Satta is also part of the fourth jhana provisions, uh, but there is a difference. Now, the kind of beings who uh, the kind of beings that we see in the Asanya Satta are those ones who have no sanya, because they practice sanya before they become Brahmas. They were saying that sanya is the problem of suffering, dukkha. When they were in the human world, they were practicing samatha bhavana in a way that the suffering, dukkha, arises because of sanya. So they keep doing that. As a consequence of this continuous practice of sanya to be the cause of suffering, they will be reborn as one of the especially this in particular in this particular Brahma will call Asanya Satta. But how they're going to expire from this particular Asanya Satta Brahma world? The moment when they think that they want to think, the moment that they want to think, the moment that they're going to be expired from Asanya Satta. So Sanya is a problem in that context. And Vehapala is also another Brahma world where someone can be reborn as a consequence of attaining the fourth jhana. So if you if you die from a Rupavachara Brahma world, one of the 16 Rupavachara Brahma worlds, then if in case you will be reborn in the human world, Kama Loka, especially as a human, you will be reborn with three hetus: Aloba, Adosa, and Amoha. So you have a very good rebirth. So that's pretty interesting to understand. And then we will move on to the last four. I would say the third bhava, which you call Arupa world. Now, Arupa world is very interesting because they don't have a manifesting body, because the word itself says Arupa. So the first Arupa world is called Akasananchayatana, infinite space. Now, beings who practice the Arupavachara Dhyana, especially who attain the Arupavachara Jhana, especially the first Arupavachara Dhyana called Akasananchayatana, they are able to be reborn in this particular Arupa world. And the beings who attain Vijnananchayatana means those who contemplate on the infinite consciousness. The consciousness is very infinite. They, when they die, they are able to be reborn in this particular Arupavachara world, formless Brahma world called Vijnananchayatana. And those beings who practice Arkanchanyaya, nothingness, which has some connections to what do you call uh, Sunyata philosophy, they are reborn in this particular world called Akin Chanyayatani. And the beings who practice Neva Sanya Na Sanyayatani, one of the Arupavachara jhanas in this life, especially if they attain, when they die, when they expire, they are able to be reborn in this particular world called neither perception nor non-perception. So these four Brahma worlds are Arupavachara, formless. So in this context, bhava means existence. That means the kind of the birth we have when we are reborn in one of these three main places. If you are reborn in the human world, that means you have the Kama Dhatu or Kama Loka and Kama Bhava in this case. And if you are reborn in one of the 16 Brahma worlds, I would say form Brahma worlds, then that means you have the Rupa Bhava. And if you are reborn in one of the four Arupa worlds, I would say Arupa Bhava, then you have Arupa Bhava. So Bhava in this case means existence, continuous existence. Okay, when we talk about Bhava, there are two other very famous terms that we have to learn: Kamma Bhava and Uppatti Bhava. Now, these two terms are very famous, very popular categories that we need to understand. What is Kamma Bhava? What is Uppati Bhava? Now, Kamma Bhava means, uh, the active the active experience of karma. Now we are having the karma bhava at this point, because we are experiencing our past karmas, even the karmas we do now. And uppati bhava means, because of the karma bhava, we are creating more karmas, and we are supposed to be reborn uh, in future lives. So the Upati Bhavas are continuing too. So Karma Bhava and Upati Bhava means the active side of karma, that means Karma Bhava, and the passive side of karma is the Upati Bhava. Let me go back to the questions, but before that, let me see some of the questions you posted here. I have a question here. Is this traditional fact about Brahma as a male predominantly a misconception? Will it fit to see Brahma as asexual, neither male nor female? Well, what we know in Abhidhamma is that Brahmas are predominantly males. This is what we see. Even though we know that we can't say things like that, especially in the current contemporary world, but we can see that Brahmas are males. This is what we can see. So that thing has to be understood. That is why when the Abhasara Brahmas come to the human world, they don't have the difference like male and female. But the thing is, then because of the things happening, then this manifestation, gender manifestation, arises. Somebody can argue maybe they are neither male nor female, but we have some evidences where we see that they happen to be mostly male. We have no idea about why it is said so. So okay, if you have any more questions, please post them here. Okay. Okay, so bhava is existence. So that is what we understand here. There are three types of existences. Okay, what is the connection between bhava and punya, karmic accumulations? Yes. Now we talked about consciousness. Now we understood consciousness as the seed. Karma is the field. Consciousness as a seed. What is the consciousness here? The consciousness here is nothing but the patisandhi vijnana. So our patisandhi vijnana continuously traversing. So this is what we call bhavanga. So it plays a major role, because bhavanga, bhava anga, and then bhava. So if we can get rid of this patisandhi vijnana by practicing samatha and ultimately with vipassana, then we are in a better place. Especially we are able to understand why this bhava journey is continuing. So when the bhava journey is continuing, we call this journey as samsaric journey. So it is an ocean, because we never know. Because Buddha says that the amount of milk that we had from different mothers in our samsaric journey is more than the volume of water in all these oceans. That means we have had a lot of mothers, and the amount of tears that we had at the time of deaths of our mother, our brother, our brothers, sisters, all these relatives are more than the volume of water that we can see in oceans, which means we have been, we have been dying, reborn, and re-dying. This is happening for millions, billions of times. There's no end. So then, what is going on here actually? Now, if the journey is that long, how things are happening to all of us? Why I became a monk, why you are not? Why you are rich, why the other people are poor? Why there are people who are beautiful, why other people are not that? Why other people are sick? Why some people are healthy? There must be a reason. So your own karmas, mostly your own karmas. Now in the Abhidhamma it says there are many things that are predominantly from karmic aspect, especially your chakku pasada, sota pasada, gana pasada, jivha pasada, kaya pasada. All these pasadas, which means your senses, they are consequences, they are repercussions of your past life. So you can't say that everybody has the same eyes, same ear, same nose, same tongue, same body, because everything that is going with our senses, they are coming from previous life. That is what we learned from Abhidhamma. So that means the kind of punya or kusala that we've been doing so far have been impacting us. So the Buddha always asks us to practice kusala. But we also see that punya and kusala, was given synonymously, in different contexts. But punya is something that takes us to samsara, but kusala is something that you reduce your continuous life. At the same time, you are creating a comfortable life until you get to nibbana. When you talk about punya, there are people who have craving towards the good things as well. If you have attachment and craving even towards good things, that is not a potential kusala karma, because whatever the good things you do, you have to make them kusalas, skillful activities. How can something become a skillful activity? You have to do it with non-greed, non-hatred, and non-delusion. Even you do a good thing, you have to do it without loba, without dosa, without moha, right? That is how you're gonna make it as a kusala. So if you transform even your worldly desires, even when you are doing good things, into kusala, then you are minimizing your sansaric journey, your bhava journey. Because even if you're reborn in one of the rupa worlds and arupa worlds, there's no guarantee that you will be attaining the nibbana, right? But there's a clue if you are reborn in one of the five pure abodes. Call them what do you call, Akanita, Sudassi, Sudassa, Atappa, Avi. These are Arupa Brahma world, sorry, Rupa Brahma worlds where Anagami individuals are supposed to be reborn. If you are an Anagami person, non-returner, then you have a opportunity to be reborn in one of these Rupa worlds, and then you will attain Nibbana there. But other than that, other than those five, the rest of the Brahma worlds, they are also another aspect of happiness, jhanic happiness. That is why the Buddha, as a bodhisattva, had to make a choice. So when he left the house, he joined couple people, Bhargava, ascetic Bhargava, and ascetic, what do you call, Alara Kalama, ascetic Uddaka Ramputra. Now, when he approached and when he studied under, ascetic Alara Kalama, he was able to attain an Arupavachara jhana, right? But what happened was, then the teacher, right? The teacher asked him, ascetic Alara Kalam asked him to share the audience, students, and we can continue as two teachers. And he said, no, this is not my purpose. And then he approached Uddaka Ramputta, ascetic Uddaka Ramputta, and then he attained this Neva Sanya Na Sanyayatani, the final jhana that was practiced by many ascetics at that time. And he was also able to attain this jhana as a bodhisattva, right? And then what happened? The same thing occurred even after that thing. That means Uddaka Ramputta asked him to share the audience, students. And he said, this is not my plan. I want to find something different, right? So that means jhanic happiness, although there are five pure abodes under Rupa worlds, jhanic happiness is subject to expire. That is why he said there is a difference between samadhi, Michcha Samadhi and Samma Samadhi. Wrong samadhi, there is a wrong samadhi concentration, and there is a right concentration. Why there is a wrong samadhi? Can the samadhi be wrong? I mean, there are people who even not trying to meditate. But why concentration can be erroneous, wrong? Because if somebody wants to practice jhanas, because jhanas are the starting point, right? So, viviccheva kame, viviccha kusalehi, right? This is how things are being explained. So, if somebody wants to practice jhana simply because that person wants to attain jhanic happiness and nothing else, that is miccha samadhi. But if somebody wants to attain jhanas and to practice samatha and then to transform, shift into vipassana, that is what he said, which we are supposed to do. So samatha to vipassana, and don't end up just in the jhanas. So we need jhanas, but our ending point is vipassana. That is why even to be reborn in rupa world and arupa world can be sometimes complexing. So we have to understand the purpose of practicing samatha and then attaining jhana. So bhava in that context has to be understood in these non-complexing ways, which means we are in the karma world. Karma world is a place where you see, uh, you know, a balance of dukkha and happiness, especially in the manusya world, human world. So we got a good chance, precious chance. So if you can practice samatha with an aim to tap into vipassana, that should be a good thing. But uh, except we try to think that we want to be reborn in one of the Rupavachar worlds, except we attain Anagami here and then wanted to, attain an Arahant by being by being reborn into one of the five pure abodes. I think, except that point, I think if somebody wants to be reborn in Rupa world and Arupa world, that might not make sense according to what we learn here, because bhava is a continuous existence. But if you got this precious chance as a human, then your role is to, what you are supposed to do is to stop this bhava journey, this existence. So you can stop this existence by understanding it in a nice context. You have to understand karmas are what we are into as a field, and consciousness is the seed, craving is the moisture, and avijja and tanha. Avijja hinders me, and tanha fetters me. So if you understand this, what you call metaphor, this metaphor with the samsaric journey, then you are able to understand it. You are able to understand the flip side of the bhava continuous existence in a much better way. Okay, there's a question. In the state of being and experiencing things as they truly are, we ignorantly get trapped into thinking, memories, and construct justification to these thoughts of a past as memories, future as imagination that we hold as views. Even when we know all these, yet we continue to revere and cling onto knowledge, books, and belief. Is this not the hindering factor that restricts us from being free to flow in the presence to live life rather than try to make life for a living? Okay, a good question. Now we need knowledge, Dhamma folks. We need knowledge. That's what you are earning from here. But knowledge itself doesn't suffice your path. You have to understand you are the person who is going on this path. So if you are someone who is ignorant about any Dhamma, you need to learn it. But learning, reading, learning, uh, itself doesn't make sense. You have to apply the teaching in whatever the best possible way into your practical life. I always instruct people, you know what? Don't just read the Dhamma books. Just do an introspection about your life. What are you going through on a day? Are you an angry person? Are you a sensual person? Are you a delusional person? Then try to find out how to fix your own problem, your mental, emotional problems, and then find Dhamma to help that out. It is like that you have no empirical part and you are looking at the theories. Dhamma is theories, right? So Our hindering part may be the inadequate efforts or inadequacy of putting the learned dhamma into the practice. This is our inadequacy. Now, a lot of people, they learn. They want to learn from. What they do is that they are only learning. Actually, they are not putting into practice. They are learning 1,000 talks about anger management, but but that person will never put into practice. He or she knows very well, this is anger, this is how I have to manage it, or I have to get it over, but that person will never apply it to the real situation, right? Then it is going to be useless, futile. This is the problem. The problem is you are not letting the dhamma come towards you. You only learn it as a learning, as a subject, just as you do in the college and universities. So you have to let the dhamma come towards you, grow in you, and to help, and to let dhamma grow in the long run. Otherwise you will never make these teachings helpful towards your path. So you have to open to the dhamma, you have to give a chance to dhamma, and you have to uh, you know uh, finally put them into practice. So that practice part is the hindrance to many, because they don't know that how it's going to happen. So I usually advise you need to approach a good teacher while you are learning. That teacher might understand you properly, and even these dhamma teachings will be helpful, but you need a certain custom tailored instructions for your own path. Other than that, I don't see any big common reason. So you need to learn, at the same time you need to let the dhamma come towards you, to grow in with the knowledge that you are earning, the wisdom that you are learning from different teachers and the books. Okay. Okay, any more questions, Dhamma folks? So how do we understand we are in a bhava? We can only understand the bhava by learning the other two bhavas, rupa bhava and arupa bhava, right? So when we talk about the tanha, craving according to the Four Noble Truths, we learn that there are three types of tanhas: kama tanha, so craving towards the hina dhatu, I would say sense sphere, this kama world, and then bhava tanha, craving towards the existence. Now, if there is somebody who wants to keep reborning without any aim, this is an aimless sansara. There is no aim in the sansara. Don't take a risk. If there is someone who wants to repeatedly continue in the beginningless aimless sansara, that means that person has another tanha craving in addition to kama tanha, bhava tanha. But if there are people who have different other set of thoughts, like not thinking that there is a sansara, only thinking that this is the only life that I or other people have, that is called vibhava tanha, kind of a nihilistic thing. Now, somebody may question this vibhava tanha, I would say nihilistic tanha, with nibbana. Somebody may say, okay, the monks and these teachers, they always say, you know what, don't go into another life. Only think that this is the only life that you have. So try to attain nibbana. So you should not misunderstand that particular teaching. So what they supposed to say, or what they may have told you, is that think that you are not taking you into samsara, you are trying to end your suffering in this very life, so that you are done. But it doesn't mean that there are no future lives that might come to you if you don't finish your samsaric journey here. Okay, a question. Bhava can be referred to happening something. Yes, that is another meaning in Pali language. Bhava, something that is happening. That is why we said that bhava here doesn't mean something in the future. Bhava is what is happening now. Now, what is happening now? We are in the karma world. We are existing in the karma world at this point. And for those folks who are in the Rupavachara world, they are existing in the Rupavachara world at this point, at the moment. And for those folks who are in the Arupavachara world, they are living at the moment in the Arupavachara world. So it is something happening now. Bhava. It is not something that is going to happen. What is going to happen is jati. So bhava conditions jati to arise, right? And then jara marana. Okay, we can take another question, one more question, and otherwise we can wrap this up. Is the Sabba, probably I may read it correctly, in the Sabbasava Sutta, the Buddha say these way of thinking of past and future will not bring on towards liberation. Okay, if I remember correctly, what we see in the Sabbasava Sutta is how someone creates pancha upadana, how someone clings to the five aggregates. When someone clings to five aggregates, that person is ruminating, contemplating on the past lives and the future lives. Buddha said that is not necessary, because if you identify you in the past, at the moment, or in the future, that means you are having sakkaya ditthi or pancha upadana. So that is not necessary. Don't identify you in any of the world, because of why? The reason is, if you identify you here as a spiritual being, you can identify you as a man, you as a woman, you as a monk, you as so on and so forth, for those purposes. But if you identify you as a spiritual being differently than this samsaric journey wanderer, then you will be attaching to the particular bhava, particular existence. That is not a good thing. Do not identify you as being a particular being in that particular world, in that particular bhava, because you are a samsaric being. You being continuously traversing in this samsaric, beginningless samsaric journey. So identification is the problem. That is what we see in the Sabbasa Sutta. Do not cling to any of the aggregates. So when you cling to aggregates, that means you are going back to your past, uh, right? Who was I? Who am I? Who am I going to be? Right? Those irrational questions. Okay, so let's wrap this up because we are uh, almost nearing the time. We'll first transfer good karmas to the uh, departed individuals and share with the devas and brahmas. May all the good karmas we've been accumulating so far be transferred to all the departed relatives who passed away in the name of all of us. A lot of people are dying because of COVID-19. At the same time, uh, we may have individuals who passed away in the name of all of us. May all those beings who died for different reasons share all these good karmas. May the good karmas be transferred to them. May they be happy and peaceful. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idam me nyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyatayo. Idam me nyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyatayo. Idam me nyati nang hotu sukita huntu nyatayo. May all the good karmas be shared by all the devas and brahmas. So devas and brahmas usually like to uh, receive good karmas from the human beings. May all the devas and brahmas share these good karmas and bless all of us for good health, quality of life, prosperity in many aspects, whatever the things that you expect, you are willing to have in the future, especially the good stuff. I would say wholesome stuff. May you be protected and blessed by them throughout the time, continuously. May the deities and Brahmas also attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, Sadhu. Ittavata cha ammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Akasattha ca Bhummattha Devanaga Mahindika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakkang Tulukasasanang Chirang Rakkang Tudesanang Chirang Rakkang Tumang Paranti. Finally, let's make the great wish that we've been always making all the time. May all the good karmas we've been accumulating in all these ways be helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. I'm going to bless you with a couple more stanzas. Please receive the blessings, mindful. Abhivadana silis nichang vadha pachayinu chataru dhamma vadhanti ayuvanu sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti iminate saminchatu. Thank you, and have a good morning for those folks who joined from that part of the world, and have a good evening for those folks who joined from here. Please take care. Have a good day.